just
All
wanted
right.
to answer. I'm
So
really
why don't
sorry.
we call this meeting to order? This is the October 11th meeting of the Westwood School Building Committee. We are being taped by Westwood Media Center. Is anybody else, would anyone else like to tape? Video record? Nope, okay. So I think we can proceed. Okay, we're going to jump right in. So just an update on membership. Our newest member is Ken Ayers. We'd like to welcome him. He is, as all of you I'm sure know, is head of operations for the district and is going to be key when we're reining in the architect who's trying to put in fancy systems that we won't know how to operate. So we are very happy to have you on board.
Thank
so
you.
Welcome. So update on process. Okay, so where we are, I can't remember the last time this board met, but as everyone knows, we had issued the RFS for the architect. And last week, and then this board had also designated Nancy, Emily, and I as the design review panel representatives for the school building committee. So last week, we attended the design review panel at the MSBA. The way the process worked was, we had 8 responses. So we had there were 15 members, various members, including staff members of the MSBA, community members, from architects to engineers that were MSBA appointed. And the chair ran the meeting pretty tightly and basically went through each of the 8 proposals, giving his thoughts and sort of laying out the pros and cons and what went right and what went wrong in each proposal. Everybody pretty much held their comments until the end, and then we all began discussing. And once everyone had discussed and sort of presented their opinions, everybody voted. You gave 3 points to your top choice, 2 points to your second choice, and 1 point to your third choice. It was an individual vote. Votes were called out and then tallied, and as a result, we had 3 architect firms that we are inviting back for interviews. They are Doran Whittier, who, if you recall, also recently worked with Westwood on the new fire station and the police station. DRA, Drummy, I still don't remember, you know their names.
Anderson.
Thank you. And William Ron. So these 3 will be presenting this coming Tuesday at the MSBA. Again, the same design review panel will be viewing the presentations, and immediately after the presentations, we will be voting. Same voting system, 3 points for your highest, 2 for your second, 1 for your third, and the architect who gets the most votes at the end of the day will be our architect. So.
Are you able to speak before you take the vote, the 3 of you?
Yes. So it's similar in that, the 3 architect firms each give their presentation, and then there is a roundtable discussion. We actually when we went last week, we had the benefit of seeing the Groton School discussion. They had the presentations, and then they had the discussion, and the MSBA definitely asked the district to give its opinion, and each district member spoke, and I think that they did seem to take that into consideration when voting. So we're hopeful that the presentations will be interesting because there's only so much you can learn from a proposal, and each proposal had some issues with it. So we're very curious to learn more about these firms, and I think the presentations may, a lot of the remarks in last week's discussion were that a firm that came in sort of under the radar ended up winning based on the strength of their presentation, because they impressed so many people with what they, with how they presented and what they had to say, and so we'll see what happens. But there isn't really any time for caucusing. You sort of hear the presentations, and then they get into the discussion, and then you vote. So
they'll also bring members of their team who they propose to bring together. So it's not just the architect, but it's some of the subs. And so we'll get to actually hear them and see, what if they're really strong and impressive in what their concepts are. And we gave them questions that were originally prepared by the school building authority that we got to comment on and enhance. So it's going to be very informative.
yeah. And, they can be, the MSBA board can be, the panel can be kind of tough on the architects. One of the panels that we saw, one of the presentations, one of their prior projects had gone a little sideways, and the panel called them out on it and said, what exactly happened here, and how did you fix it? And they didn't let them, sort of get by. So, so it should be interesting. I think it's, I don't know, I'm looking forward to it. But the upshot is that Tuesday by noonish, we
Well,
should
no.
have an architect. So, and it's, public, open meeting, anyone can attend, everyone is welcome to come. And we'll update you.
Just the one, we will have a first rank, but we still have to negotiate a fee and go through that process.
Yes. Thank you for the clarification. It's not a done deal. It's the vote really is to who we choose to enter negotiations with for the contract. So if they fall apart, we'll have a second ranking and a third ranking. So that's currently where we are. The second thing, and I think I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit to the discussion item, so why don't I'll just hold off on talking about that.
Can I ask,
Yeah.
who determines salary? District or the MSBA?
So they will propose a salary
MSBA.
to the MSBA.
Oh,
Right, I mean, and Tim, you can probably speak more to
Well,
this
you mean
than
a
I
fee?
can.
A fee to
yeah.
the architect.
No, we draft a scope of work that we want them to, base their fee on, which is also defined in the RFP, but we have to work around the particular things in Westwood. And then they give us a fee proposal, and then, I usually would work with the chair to kind of talk around what that is, but it can be maybe the committee, the subgroup, and then we agree on it. We have to make sure it works and in the budget, but then ultimately you folks have to approve the contract, the building committee. But that's typically how we do it. I mean, you can do it almost any way you want.
So we
if
won't
the
have
town
an
wants to do
architect
it
until
differently.
this board convenes again?
Well, I mean, we should probably talk about that. I mean, that's, you could, if you feel you want to, you could authorize the smaller group to approve a fee that's, as long as it's within budget.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Probably does. I mean.
You don't want to lose the time.
Yeah, right.
Right.
If we know them on Tuesday,
Right.
you want to get them engaged as quickly as possible.
Right, which is important, given what we have coming up with the community.
Right. Probably would be a good idea.
So do we have to make a motion? The immediate
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I don't think I need the authority to negotiate the fee. I think I just need the authority to approve it, right? I would think. So do we want to do that now, or do you want to do that as an action item? We can do it now. Why don't we do it now? All right, can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
You want to say it?
We'll make the motion to give you the authority to approve the fee for the architect.
Okay.
Fee and contract.
And sign the contract.
And contract.
And sign the contract.
Do I sign the contract, or does the town?
Well, the town signs the
Yeah,
contract.
the town would sign the contract.
It's a form contract, so, I mean, that process, once the fee's done, that process is pretty rote. I don't know whether the town council has to approve it to form some towns, but it's a form
He
contract.
usually signs off on it. as a
Yeah,
form.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
our
So what would
choice.
you
so-
say for the motion to make sure we get the right authority here?
It's approved by the subcommittee that's
ESP.
interviewing and working with the, and then signed by but I think that would be me.
I think it's the town administrator. You've been signing up on other things.
So to approve and sign the and to have the town administrator sign the contract.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Oh, any opposed? No, it is unanimous. Okay. So that sort of leads into the next steps. The next thing on that we have coming up are the community engagement sessions. And we, as, I think we've delineated this, but we have two sets of community engagement sessions. The first set is occurring on October 23rd and November 4th, 7 PM at the Thurston Middle School cafeteria. The flyer is up on the screen. And the purpose of this is to really give a presentation, you know, an informational presentation, but also to elicit feedback from the community. The format of this will be first an overview of the MSBA process, how we got to where we are, why we had to get here. Second will be a review, the design, the teams will be presented, so Tim and his team, the architect and his or her team will come as well, so that the community can see exactly who's going to be working on this project. And then the third thing we're going to do is break off into small groups, into breakout groups, that will be moderated by probably members of the school committee, each group, depending on how many people we have. There will be sort of high-level questions to present to the small breakout groups. We'll discuss for about an hour, and then the feedback will be collected. So really the purpose of this meeting is to introduce this project to the community and find out what the community is thinking about this project. Because of that, these two sessions are it's really critical we get the word out. I'm a little concerned that the word hasn't, we've been trying, but I feel the word isn't really disseminating. I'm not hearing any buzz about it. I'm not hearing any talk about it. I think Tony and I were both saying that last night. So to the extent that we can really push these out into the community, I'm not sure if it was in the Westwood Wire.
It was.
I know that all the schools have stuffed backpacks, so they've all gone home with the students. You know, I've been posting on Facebook. I think I'm going to continue to do that. I don't know if we could think about Westwood, the Westwood Press or the Hometown Weekly, maybe getting something on even an article, right, on the front page. That would be great.
Article might be good, yeah.
Because no one will read the flyer, but if we have an actual article about what we're doing and.
Mia, you've got to work on that October 23rd. You've got to contact them probably today and see when their deadline is. It might be the beginning of next week to
Okay.
get it out.
To get it out?
Yeah.
We'll do that.
We've already done that.
We've already done
Oh.
that, okay.
And the town's Facebook page, you might want to reach out to Desmond O'Leary in the select board's office and get the town to push it out. Because we've got a lot of people, you know, that it could get pushed out too.
Yeah, it was in the Westwood Wire, but if that same listserv,
You might want to do
is
something
just to push
separate.
this out, that
We
would
can
be
put
great.
out,
The Facebook page is a good idea.
Do we still do the robocall? Can we
Could do that.
Because I think there are a lot of people, I know a lot of people who are not on Facebook and who are not, who are no longer in the school district, and so they're quite disconnected, so that would be a
Oh.
good heads up.
So I don't have access, I mean, the calls that I can make are only to.
Oh, to this,
our-
The town.
so I do.
Do a town.
I have access to it, so we can do a robocall for the entire community.
You just have to think about the timing, when you want it to go.
And I would imagine you would do it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can set it up.
Okay. Any other ideas on how to get this sorted
Well, it'll cost money, but you could do it mail.
out? Yep.
I know it's old school, but I like old school.
You are old school.
What about doing an insert in the paper, you know, a separate
That's much
sheet?
less expensive.
Yeah.
It's less expensive,
Right,
right?
much
On
less than
on
a
a colored
mailing.
piece
Actually, you
of
could do
paper.
that, actually,
Right,
yeah. that
you
would-
have to
actually, that's a
create,
good idea.
Right.
Hometown Weekly gives you the volume that you need.
Yeah.
You get it to them by a certain date, and then they deliver it to Connecticut or something, wherever they do the prep for the actual paper.
Or
and they
could we
advertise.
take a block on the front page? You know how we have blocks? So if we took one of those blocks,
Well, if we are able to get
they're
an
not
article,
expensive.
Yeah, if you
if
do
we're
an
able to get an
article,
article, and
But a
that's
lot
even
of
better.
people don't.
Well, if they just see the headline, right?
They don't go through the whole paper, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking front page.
You got to
Above
have
the
a
fold.
nice
Above the
conversation.
folds.
There are also the boards in front of Town Hall and the Islington Fire Station. So again, the Select Board's office, you can get a board, the horizontal thing to be put up on those boards. So you just want to have it everywhere, so that's,
and what about a
Another
board
thing.
like do for all of the
Like
sports.
a sandwich board?
That's a good idea.
Just sandwich board, a couple of them.
If you're willing to come down to the Westwood Media Center, we could do a
PSA.
quick PSA and put it out on to everybody on Facebook in Westwood.
Oh, that would be great. We could do that.
Is there a way that, do you send out some sort of regular thing from the school department with?
Yeah, I'll send it out on our parent listserv. I will definitely do that, I think. But these are good ideas also to reach residents who aren't connected to the schools.
This is an educational forum, so it's not, an advocacy forum, so.
Right. Any other ideas? These are good.
We'll mention at the beginning of our select board meeting Tuesday night.
Okay. Good, and maybe you and I will meet after and sort of divvy it up, who's doing what. Excellent. So in connection with those community engagement, this is, again, I'm just talking about the first set. We don't quite yet have the substance. We're waiting for the architect to be selected because the architect will drive a lot of that, will help us with form those questions for the community. So, which again is why it's critical to get the architect on board as soon as possible, because we don't have a lot of time between the selection and the first engagement session. So the second set of engagement sessions are for December 9th and December 12th, again, 7 p.m. at the middle school cafeteria. This is going to be more of us presenting information to the community. We're going to identify the priorities that came out of the feedback sessions. So at that point, we'll have had time to sort of gather all the information, really sort of look at it, assess it, and come up with some way to present it back to the community. We're also going to review the school district's sort of underlying concept for the educational plan. As you guys recall, the educational plan is going to be written by the school committee, and it's basically the map for the design of the new building. It's going to inform a lot of aspects of the design. So it's a key piece of information for the architect. And I believe we have a school committee subcommittee that's been working on it and will continue to work on it. And this second set of forums is where we'll present the concepts that are in that educational plan. And then the last thing is, I can't read that far.
In the spring, so we haven't figured out the dates for the spring, but then there will have to be more community engagement sessions, because by the time we get to the spring, we will have some potential project options. There'll have to be a process to kind of assess the pros and cons in order to eventually, by the end of the school year, determine what the preferred
Right.
design is.
Right, and the goal of all of these community sessions is really to make this process as transparent as possible. We really, and to engage the community as much as possible. This is a big project for the town. It will require a vote, so we really want everyone in the community to feel like they had the opportunity to comment, to view, to understand, to learn about this project. So we're trying to, make these as accessible as possible, and also as informative as possible. So that's the goal of these community engagement sessions. Right now, as I said, we're focusing on the first set. So if you guys can get the word out, we'll take these suggestions and hopefully get some good feedback at those.
I made this comment at school committee last night, but I'm just going to repeat it. I think just because of the way the process unfolds with the MSBA and kind of the amount of time things just take, I'm concerned that, we've been sort of in the run-up phase for a long time now, a couple of years, really. And so I think the message about these community forums needs to be that this is the moment, this is when things are really starting to happen, because as you can see from the timeline, we've got maybe 8 months here where we really have to have a lot of community conversation and make some decisions. So tell people that this is it.
Yeah.
It's the real conversation.
Do we have a communication plan for after the meetings? I think there's great ideas for getting the word out, to get to the meeting, but inevitably somebody who really wanted to be there won't make the meeting. and hopefully they'll catch the next round. But maybe just whether it's newspapers, all these other forums, is to have a recap of what happened at some of these sessions, so that if you missed the first round, look at all the great things that are happening, please get to the next one. But just so if you miss something, and we do actually, I mean, people that'll always just not make it, but we're more concerned on the people that really do want to be involved, but have 17 things that night. So,
Westwood Media
but making
Center
sure
will
we
film them?
wrap that up.
So what, they are being, yep, they'll be filmed by Westwood Media Center.
People can actually-
Yeah, but I'm thinking more of a push mode.
Yeah, we
Like,
can
we're-
push it
we're
out. So-
pushing the info to get them to the meeting. And yes, they can go dig it out. But I think if we continually push the information out to people, you know, try again for Above the Fold and some Facebook stuff, just recaps of, if you missed it, this is what happened. You know, really keeping people in the loop, because things are going to move fast.
No, I think that's important, and we had a process like that in the year that we were engaging people around the feasibility study vote. So, you know, we would do an open house or a forum, and then we have a dedicated webpage, which we still have, where everything is still posted for the project. So we would generate things that would go there, and then we would push it out to say to people, here it is, you know,
Yeah.
this is what happened. And we also, published a lot of articles in the newspaper that were exactly what you said. We held a forum, here's what happened, you know, here's what the next thing
Yep,
is,
keep it
right?
up.
Just to remind people,
Yeah, we're still at it.
we're doing this.
Just one more suggestion, Fox Hill and the Glens, how about, have we taken the brochures or the up there?
And are these going to be televised, these sessions?
Yes.
Yeah.
And will they have the opportunity to comment on them if they can't come to them in person? Will we have some kind of process
We could.
so that they can?
So with Fox Hill, I suggest that you reach out to Tony and Mika, because they have first Wednesday of the month meetings, community meetings in their large hall. And they're very interested in what goes on in the community, and some of these people are very savvy from having been engaged in their hometowns where they came from, many not Westwood. And it could be a really great place to not only just share the information, but probably get some people giving some ideas, and they're just really great to speak with. So he would be able to tell you if he could get maybe December, for instance,
Could do a
after you've
forum
done
right there.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that might be a little challenging.
Carol and I went,
We did.
we did that leading
We
up
did
to
the
the
roadshow.
feasibility study,
Okay,
and it
so
was quite interesting.
doing that again would be,
Yeah.
they're just a wonderful community, and a lot of them register to vote here. So,
What we could do, I think, with Fox Hill is maybe go there and just speak for 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes about the community, you know, the project and the community engagement forum, and say, and give them a resource for submitting ideas if they can't attend the forums. I don't think we need to do a full presentation. I don't think we're quite there yet.
What about having something at the senior center?
Well, the
And then
so
inviting
that's on the,
all of the different, you know, the Glens and Fox Hill. Would Fox Hill come, Nancy, do you think? Senior center, no. Okay.
they don't go to evening meetings typically.
but the senior center is another place we should at least
Like,
be.
what if we did a
disseminating
morning
information.
meeting? What if we did a morning meeting at the senior center
Oh, that's what you would need to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
as opposed to evening?
Again, I think we need to limit the community forum to the community forums with the
Okay.
discussions, but I do think that getting the information about the community forums is a good idea. Going to the senior center, going to Fox Hill, going to the Glens, or somehow communicating
Right.
with the Glens. I hesitate to have a forum then and there, because I want this to really be as public as possible, and if we're sort of limiting it, you know.
Right.
And we're advertising these are the set forums. But if we go to these places and we give the information and we say, if you can't make the forum, you know, we should think about how people can communicate comments to us if they can't make the forum.
I
And
still
we
like the idea of the Fox Hill one, though. I know that you're saying you're trying to limit it, but sometimes, it's, you know, I'm not saying we're going to have crowds, but for seniors, it's not necessarily that easy. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just something to mull over.
And they are a very
And they're-
involved group.
yeah.
They are informed.
Yep.
I'd be interested in just learning about, are there ways to improve the quality of the input that we get at these forums? I've been to forums that people didn't know what they were doing, and some of them were excellent. And so my question would be, I mean, I assume other towns have done this in education. You know, there are things that we could learn about what came out of the community forum that really made a difference, really had impact, it really was innovative, was creative. To begin to prepare for these forums by suggesting the things we would like to learn from what others have learned. I mean, I think there may be something that the instruction given, what we ask these groups to talk about, and how we, to learn a little bit from other groups that have done it, who maybe interview some of them, what difference did it make in this town or this town? What came up that we didn't know about, we wouldn't have got, we're happy we got it. I think, spend a little bit of homework on that might produce better quality from what we get from people by giving some tips on what other people have learned. So I don't know if much could be done in that area, or with, from other programs and the architect, or, so I think it'd be valuable to see, how we get more out of those meetings that we could benefit from.
So there's a lot that can be done around that, and I think there are forums that are more effective than others in structures. One of the questions on Tuesday for the architects to answer relates to that, so you'll see what, and a lot of when it gets into the content, the later on forums in the spring, they're going to be heavily driven by that architect and by the visioning people, the ed programmer. And they're going to be, I think you'll see on Tuesday, they're going to present, the three firms will present what they've seen work in other communities, because that's what we've asked them to do. So between what we know works, or what I wouldn't say no, because I'll tell you, every community is different. And things that you think work in your community that, or because it's another community, don't necessarily, it's all different. So you have to be very flexible and adapt and understand the pulse. But we will get a lot of good content out of Tuesdays. Out of Tuesday's interview, we will get good content there. One of the other things I think that we should make sure that we keep starting out, and so we generally are the gatekeeper putting information on the website, but we need somebody from the town to tell us, yes, this is the time to go put it up, and so we need to make sure that we have that filtering process. But one of the things that lessons we've learned is that FAQs become very important in this. People will ask a question, and you don't want to have multiple answers around an answer to a question. You want to have it thought out about what exactly is the answer to the question, so that people understand it and don't get, because everybody, if you ask a question of this panel, they get a little different answer from everybody. So I would start now at least tracking FAQs, and we have, of course, a whole bunch that typically come up, and I think, that they're easy enough to figure out. But then we need to sit down and work with, somebody about what the answers are, and have them be, and it can't be something where it comes to this committee to wordsmith. It needs to be fairly rapid, because an FAQ needs to be posted quickly. But if you don't keep those current, then you're fighting a kind of rear guard action all the time, and you're on your heels dealing with FAQs. So I would say that that's one of the things that we should just be mindful of now. If you guys are hearing things in particular, there's like a dozen stock FAQs, but then there's particular ones that you'll be hearing. We'll start to hear them on the heels of these forums.
Anything else on the community engagement sessions and content and reaching out?
I'll take care of I'll reach out to the patch as well. I think it
That
makes
would be
sense,
great.
yeah.
Thank you.
And I'll just remind everybody, following the two first sessions, there'll be a community newsletter that'll go out on December 15th.
Okay.
Which you get a summary in there. And we have more control, or we have a little bit less time needed, advanced time needed to get it in there, because we're doing it in-house, so.
May I would add, I shared this information with the CPAC, and we'll do another push through that organization as well.
Great. Anything else? Next steps, Tim, if you don't mind, I'm actually going to ask you to walk us through sort of a high-level view of the schedule, just so that everyone understands in terms of the PSR, the PDP, all that, all the.
So the PDP, the first step of the process, which is the ed plan, the existing conditions reports on the school, which have to be done in the Hanlon, and the sort of long list of options, just basically kind of ideas. That's, I think our schedule is doing, there's some flexibility there, but that's going out in early spring, February or March. I didn't bring it with me, but it's around that. The next step in the process is the preferred schematic report, which is the first board vote taken by the MSBA to approve, after getting into the program, to approve a process. So that preferred schematic is the critical point that Superintendent Parks was talking about in terms of when we need to make a decision. And so the board schedule isn't out yet for officially, although we have a draft, so I think we'll go by whatever the dates of those are. But our plan is to get that in front of the board in their last sort of summer meeting, their last meeting before they break for summer, which is either June or July. The idea is then, so that's to the tune of kind of wrapping up the work of this in the next 8 months. Then the next phase, which is still a pretty, it's still a very public part of the process, and a lot of about is information, educating the community, but is schematic design, which is the first step in the design process and is about, a third of the design process, roughly. That we are planning on doing in the fall and into the winter, and then the idea is that we've talked about, well, at least tentatively, we've talked about heading toward some sort of a town meeting special or something, but around the annual town meeting in the spring of 2021. So to be ready for that, we need to have had that finished by early February, early 2021, because there's a process to go through with the MSBA where they review it and ask questions and come back, and so that's the process. So right now, we're targeting both the town meeting vote and the debt exclusion for around spring 2021, which I think we need that time, as we've talked about that.
And that keeps us on track for a 2023 opening, correct?
Yes, yeah. I'd have to.
Does town meeting have to be before the vote, or can the vote be before?
I mean, typically, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Usually, people view, especially in open town meetings like Westwood, that's a good place for people to hear the information around what they're voting on, because there's no way to do that otherwise.
We've
But
always done it, votes before.
yeah,
No.
that's the
Yeah.
typical.
We have not?
My concern with the vote before town meeting is people will be voting without hearing from us.
That's not what we've always done. Think of the library, for starters. The library was a special town meeting, probably March of that year, and then the ballot followed.
For the school debt exclusions, we've always done the vote before the town meeting for the school, right?
Not always. We usually
Nothing we
like
do
to
with the high
think,
school.
use town meeting as an education tool in advance of the vote, so we inform people.
So in that
Thank you
case,
for
if
the
you
high
had town meeting, you'd have to do a special vote after town meeting then.
Yeah.
You
Right.
wouldn't
It's
do it
been a
at the part
while
of-
since we did the high
Okay.
school, but I believe we did the town meeting first.
Right, so, and that's actually an
Got it.
item on our
Okay.
agenda to discuss, because when we were talking about the scheduling, we were, discussing this question, is it the vote before town meeting or after? If town meeting is going to be before the vote, clearly it needs to be a special town meeting.
Right.
Or you
Um,
need a special vote.
Or you need
Or
a
you
special vote.
need a separately scheduled
Right,
election in June, for instance.
right.
That's been done too.
We usually, my recollection is that we usually did the school projects when there was an election going on, to bring people out to vote at the same time.
Yeah, I'm just saying you have options.
Right, no,
You have
but I mean, I think
options.
it gets people out.
Out if there's a candidate on the ballot also, as opposed to just,
You're not going to have trouble getting people out to vote for this.
well, we want, never mind.
Yeah, I think that, and we can talk, we don't
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
decide this now. It's definitely something to think about, though, whether we want to use town meeting as a way of educating people about the vote, or whether we want to use the vote as a way of trying to get everyone fired up about, and then ratifying it at the town meeting. And we can talk more about that, but there are a lot of options. If we wanted to do a special town meeting, Nancy, when would we, for spring of 2021, when would we need to?
Pam and Mike might want to chime in, but I would say, my recollection is we did the library in March. We had a special town meeting in March. So the cycle you have to think about is the Finance Commission cycle, and you wouldn't want that to be straddling the holidays. So you want to be on the January side to start that, and they need about a 6-week window. They usually have one public hearing if it's a special town meeting, and then they have to publish whatever report and get it mailed out. That sort of sets the clock. So sometime in March, to get it in February would be hard, and you also have, March can be weather-related issues, but
February can be more.
February can be more. I mean, we're in New England, so that's hard to plan around. Yeah, so, and there's also timing to get it on the ballot. So if you did town meeting first and you were successful, you still are okay to get it on the ballot. If unfortunately town meeting didn't go well, you probably wouldn't want to go ahead and have it on the ballot. So there's timing that the town clerk can tell you. So I think March becomes the sweet spot. And maybe not too far into March.
So to get it on, to call a special town meeting in March, we just need to start working on it in January.
Well, yeah, and you have to ask the select board to call the meeting.
It's a 45-day advance notice, but you'd probably want to give more time than that.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be making a last-minute decision on that. You'd be very strategic into the fall.
Everyone would be aware of what we would be
Exactly.
doing.
Surprise!
No, you wouldn't be like, oh, we're ready to go, let's hurry up and go. You'd be working the calendar pretty tightly. So I think, does that sound right to you, Pam? Yeah, March-ish?
And we need to know when the MSBA board meeting is.
Right.
Well, I mean, that meeting, they need to approve the project, but you have like, I think it's like 4 months between there. You have up to like 4 months once they approve it to approve it in the town. So we're targeting right now a board approval that'll be in one of the meetings in that first half of 2021. Right now, I think we're looking at February, but I don't have that board, and we don't know that board calendar yet, but it'll either be late January, February, or March even. I don't
So
think
if the MSBA doesn't approve it until March, and we have our special town meeting in March.
we can adjust,
Okay.
but we will know, the MSBA, the board is a pro forma vote. So you know long before the board meeting that you have an approved project.
Okay.
But, it's a lot easier for the public to know, to be able to say, the MSBA has approved us, and now you're voting on an approved project. But we know internally.
All right, I just want to make sure we don't run into a situation where we can't have the March special town meeting because we're not on the MSBA calendar for the vote.
Yeah, we can adjust.
Okay.
I mean, we can make it, and it's gonna be, they'll have, they meet every 2 months roughly.
Yeah.
And so there'll be a meeting before March.
Okay. All right. Anything else on town meeting? Fun time? All right. I think that takes us into the action items. So the first one is we need to approve the meeting minutes of June 6, 2019. So can I get a motion? Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion's carried. Now, the Designer Selection Subcommittee, which is the three of us, need to approve our meeting minutes of September 17th.
I move approval.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, unanimous. So now the School Building Committee needs to accept our meetings, our meeting minutes of September 17th. So can I get a motion for that?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Now we get into the invoices. So these are Compass invoices that they're submitting, and the SBC is tasked with approving them before they go to the town for payment.
Mayor,
So-
one quick thing.
Yeah.
The invoices are based on the amendment that.
So we need to approve the amendment
Thinking that
first.
probably would
Okay,
be-
I was wondering about that. All right, we're going to jump ahead a little bit. First, we need to approve the amended OPM contract. This amendment was put in place because the original contract contemplated a shorter time frame for the end of the OPM work, and we are sort of stretching it, right, to February, as we were talking about. So Tim revised, this amendment just revises the time and takes the scope and sort of spreads it out a little bit longer. It does not change the pricing at all. It just changes the timing of it. So I do need a motion to approve the amendment to the OPM contract.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Now we can approve the invoices. The first one is for June, July, and August work. These are the monthly lump sum payments of $10,303 each month for a total invoice of $30,909. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Well, you need to put the actual amount in it. It's 30,909.
I think I said that, didn't I?
Did you? All right. Well, for each month, I meant. Maria gets
So-
very particular about this.
Okay, so for June, it's $10,303. For July, it's $10,303. And for August, it's $10,303, for a total invoice of $30,909. Can I get a
So
motion?
moved, yeah.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And the last invoice is for September 2019. Again, the monthly sum payment is $10,303, so the invoice total. And then there was the previous invoice we just approved. That total was $30,909. So the total of this invoice, which includes the prior one we just approved, is $41,200.
This invoice should be 10,000, should just be
Yeah.
for September.
$10,303.
Yeah, not 40. The total to date is.
You just approved the 30,909.
Oh, so I'd just say the 10,000?
Just the, yeah.
All right,
just
so
the
this
one month,
invoice is
but-
for $10,303. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And I believe that's it for action items. On to new business. Is there any new business? Nope. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second? Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
The next meeting?
What's that? Oh, the next meeting is Friday, yes, thank you, Friday, November 8th at 8 AM.